So on behalf of the Electrification Coalition, the city of Fort Collins, the city of Loveland, Colorado State University, thank you very much for joining us here today. My name is Robbie Diamond. I'm the president and CEO of the Electrification Coalition, which is a group of CEOs who are on the entire value chain of electrifying ground transportation, who have proposed a plan to end our oil dependence in the United States. And this oil dependence threatens the United States. It threatens our economy, our national security, and our environment, particularly in the transportation sector, where 93% of our transportation sector requires oil to power itself. In a moment, I'll be introducing, and we'll be joined by the mayors of Fort Collins and Loveland, Ron Sega, a great astronaut and member of the Colorado State University, former Governor Bill Ritter. And I want to thank all our great sponsors, companies we've been working with: FedEx, GM, Nissan, the Bohemian Foundation, Eaton, New Belgium, Odell, Schneider Electric, and the American Lung Association. Now, let me spend a moment to talk about why we believe we need to be doing this, and why we're doing it here, and why people in this community should embrace electric vehicle transportation. As I said before, the United States is threatened by our oil dependence. To focus on the economic side, we're all watching the price of gasoline go up every day now. I think over the last month it's gone up every day. And that 50 cents that's gone up impacts people's ability to purchase, especially in a consumer economy. In fact, new numbers were just released that showed that the United States spent $900 billion, over $900 billion last year on oil, consumers and businesses. And this was the most money ever spent in one year. This is, of course, if one looks at every recession in the history of the United States, it has been preceded by or happened concurrently with an oil price spike. And so we need to end this oil dependence in order to continue to see a thriving, growing America and economy, as well as our national security is threatened, and more troops have to be sent overseas to patrol the global oil supply lines. And then finally, the environment. Transportation is actually the largest single sector emitter of carbon in the United States. And yes, we have a lot of drilling in the United States going on, which we think is fabulous. But I point out that number of the $900 billion that we spent on oil at the same time that we have drilled more oil in the United States at about 6.5 million barrels a day. It was a record in the last 2 decades. So you have this dichotomy. We're producing more, that's true, but we're also spending more because there's a global oil market. I just point to our neighbors to the north, Canada, that exports oil, or our allies, Norway, that also exports oil, and they say they pay the same price that we do. And so we need to end this dependence so that there's not a monopoly of one fuel source in the transportation sector, and that gets us to electrification. Really, we came to the idea that electrification was really the way out of this problem, because with electric vehicles, one has many fuel sources, not just relying on one, where the price of gasoline goes up and there's nothing we can do. Electricity is fueled by many different fuels, from natural gas to nuclear, coal, wind, solar, hydro. And that diversity gives us the security we need, as well as being domestic forms of energy. I'd also note that we have the infrastructure everywhere. Everyone has lights in America. So there is not less work needs to be done on the infrastructure side. And then finally, the price of electricity is incredibly stable. Whereas we've seen these volatile prices when it comes to oil and gasoline, in electricity it's been a very flat curve. And so if we can drive our transportation sector off of oil to this diverse set of fuels, we'll really have solved one of the greatest challenges facing the United States and the world. Why Fort Collins? We are really thrilled to be here. Fort Collins, when looking at every place in the United States, Fort Collins, Loveland, and this whole area, we really saw this as a place where we could show the rest of the United States and the world that this was a possible, viable, solution for many different types of consumers and many different types of businesses. We've been advocating for a long time, instead of spreading everything around the country and have some chargers here and some cars over there, we had to pick a place, get it right, and then show everyone that this was possible. As I say, Las Vegas sells itself as what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I would say that this project, what happens in Fort Collins and Loveland, cannot stay in Fort Collins and Loveland. The whole idea is to take this and show the rest of the country how it can be done. And really, what we want to show is that driving an electric vehicle doesn't have to be the exception, but it can be the norm. And our role in working with all the great partners we have here is to try to coordinate all the people. If everyone does a small part through their businesses, individual consumers, that will make a big impact in a place this size. And I think we'll see those results very, very quickly. And so it's not about just coordination, it's also about education, and then making sure that the infrastructure exists. Now, electric vehicle transportation should not be a difficult sell. It's incredibly fun. You have more torque than other cars. You don't have to go to the gas station to fill up, which is both bad because it hurts your wallet, but it also takes a lot of your time. You don't always have to go to the service station. In my electric car, for example, I only have one type of liquid, and it's only the windshield wiper fluid. So this is something that we should want to do. I would also note that there's a $6,000 tax credit that the state gives above the $7,500 tax credit that the federal government gives. So when one looks at the economics, it makes an incredible amount of economic sense, and those prices for the cars will continue to drop as batteries are get better, as the technology continues. But it will meet most people's everyday needs. And then I just point out that everyone has 65% of Americans have more than 2 cars, and 35% of Americans have more than 3 cars. With that, I just say that I believe that this will be the shot heard around the world, and will be the shot where we finally end our oil dependence as a country and as a society. Thank you very much. Let me introduce the Mayor of Loveland, Mayor Gutierrez, who I should say, Loveland is actually the first city in the country to have all electric vehicles as part of their fleet. So we're thrilled to be building on that with the mayor.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm actually pleased that it's a partnership with Loveland and Fort Collins, and I'll be introducing Mayor Wyckoff here soon, but she and I are doing an awful lot of things in northern Colorado now as a region, and it's really a pleasure to be partnering with her on a number of initiatives. This one this morning is one where she and I are always looking for ways that our cities can partner to benefit our citizens. You know, one of the reasons that I think many people use for not buying an electric vehicle is what has come to be known as range anxiety. With this effort in northern Colorado, I believe this can be eliminated. This partnership in Loveland and Fort Collins is another major step in curing range anxiety. I can personally learn where all the charging stations are, and there is even an app for my phone. I can learn to relieve my range anxiety, but what I cannot predict is the price of gasoline. Because we are a publicly owned utility here, we have great electric rates that are predictable. Electric rates being more stable can give us that stability that we seek in our budgets. Gasoline can spike in price radically, as we have seen recently. With the ability to better predict monthly costs, consumer spending will also become more predictable. And for us as a city, bringing more predictability to our budgets. The city of Loveland is the first municipality in the United States to add all-electric Nissan Leafs to our fleet because they were practical and economical, and they made more sense economically. So we were thrilled to partner with Tynan Nissan in bringing those to our fleet. We have also added 2 level 2 charging stations, one at our service center and one at our City Hall building. This is a start. This program will help to create the infrastructure necessary to making owning an electric vehicle much more attractive. When I think about my driving patterns personally, range should not be a factor. Most of the driving that my family and I do is within less than 100 miles. Actually, most of it is between Loveland and Fort Collins. Charging stations, all of those places. We live in an area where we have made innovation a major part of our culture and our DNA. With CSU, the Innosphere, the Rocky Mountain Center for Innovation and Technology, this is just another brick in making us that edifice of energy independence. We have always been leaders. As an example, the foresight our predecessors had in organizing Platte River Power Authority has been a model of regional cooperation, benefiting our citizens in countless ways. This will be just one more example of what we can do together to be leaders in innovation. We are proud to be in partnerships for this project. And with that, I'd like to introduce my fellow mayor, the Mayor of Fort Collins, Karen Wyckoff.
Good partner. What a great day to be in northern Colorado. I'm really excited to be here today to kick off the Drive Electric Northern Colorado initiative. Today, we're seated in the new Fort Collins Museum of Discovery, and this could not be a more appropriate venue for what's happening. It's a blend of history, of science, of innovation, and the museum is a living testament to what our community values. Through stories of the past, the present, the museum brings to light the importance of caring for our natural environment and our community. With the addition of cutting-edge technologies such as the newly installed DC quick charger, the museum also provides a glimpse to the future. The advancement of electric vehicles has the potential to reduce environmental impacts while saving individuals and businesses money. Such is the case in Fort Collins, which already has 4 plug-in electric vehicles in our fleet, and we're looking to expand. We're also working to provide the infrastructure necessary to support these vehicles. We plan to install charging stations for the general public at 4 to 6 locations as part of Fort Collins' pilot program. We're pleased to announce that today, the Museum of Discovery will be the first of these locations. This is a responsible approach to supporting greener transportation and meeting the future demands of our citizens. We're proud to be one of the first communities in the nation to truly implement a widespread effort to encourage the use of electric vehicles. With such great partners like Colorado State University, the City of Loveland, and the private business community, and the Electric Coalition, I believe that we will show the rest of the nation the positive change that can happen. With that, I'd like to introduce now former Governor Bill Ritter, the director of Colorado State University's Center for the New Energy Economy, a proven, powerful voice in the United States in the new energy economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be here. I noticed when the 2 mayors hugged, they really got a big hug, you know. There is a thing like a mayor-to-mayor hug, isn't there? I knew that while I was governor. It's a little less when you're governor. A mayor just gives you a nice pat, and then they walk off the stage. Listen, it's great to be here for a lot of different reasons. I'm at Colorado State University in the Center for the New Energy Economy. The Vice President for Energy and Environment speaking after me, Ron Sega, and he'll probably talk as well about Colorado State University. But there is an excitement in northern Colorado about the transformation of how we produce and consume energy. And as much as thinking about producing and consuming energy may not inspire a lot of people, I just want to do something that maybe puts some perspective, and that's to talk about this at the national scale. And certainly, I think we've already had some remarks about that, but we should understand, right, the way we consume energy, both transportation energy and in the electric sector, is itself an economic issue, and it's a national security issue. Our economic security is very much dependent upon us transitioning away from how we performed or behaved in the 20th century, in the 1900s, to transitioning to a new way. Economic security, national security, both depend on that. You think then the United States Congress would be on this. We would be looking at that transition and really examining our role as a leader for the rest of the world. But that's not happening. Congress is very much stalemated on trying to move this conversation forward. And one of the things that we do at our center is work with states around the country on trying to think about energy policy differently, trying to think about how we can advance thinking on clean energy policy. And I think one of the things that the Electrification Coalition has hit upon that's right is, you know what, let's go to the place where we know it's fairly nimble and we can work with a group of people and work with local governments, and as well we can show that when you diversify the transportation sector, when you deploy at a greater scale, it is in fact workable. The arguments that the naysayers sort of put up against this actually go away. And so coming to northern Colorado is the right thing to do, not just because the national government's stalemated on this discussion, but because northern Colorado itself has proved to be this laboratory for advancement in a variety of ways. And I think, you realize that you have these communities, right, Longmont, Loveland, Estes Park, and Fort Collins, that own their own utility. That utility is actually quite enlightened in thinking about this transition from a 20th century to a 21st century energy economy. And then you tie into that a different way of thinking about the transportation sector, and at least an alternative way of thinking about it where we deploy in a greater fashion what should be something that will be mainstream in 2020 or 2030 or 2040, the electric vehicle. Now, it's great that the electric vehicle in northern Colorado can plug in and pull power off that's not just coal-fired power, that is a diverse range of power, that's wind, that's solar, some little bit of geothermal, a lot of natural gas and coal, but that you understand that you're able to plug an alternative vehicle into a grid and get alternative forms of power than what we were doing in the 1960s and 1970s. And that's because the people in northern Colorado have long understood there is a benefit, a significant benefit, to having diverse domestic energy, to looking at it as an economic development strategy, to understanding that you can actually protect consumers as you do this, and there are tremendous environmental benefits to doing it as well. So it sounds almost too good to be true, but it's not. Because the people of Colorado and the people of northern Colorado have been demonstrating this again and again and again. So we say to the Electrification Coalition from CSU, we are very much proud to be partners with Loveland, with Fort Collins, and with the Electrification Coalition to do what we can do to help the people of northern Colorado understand the diversity in the alternative fuels, the electric vehicle, particularly the deployment of that, can be something that will demonstrate an economic vitality for this area with great environmental benefits, and lessons can be learned here that can be spread to other places around the country. So thank you all for coming here. Thanks for being part of this partnership. I'm fortunate at Colorado State University to work with a man who sort of became first in the public's eye as an astronaut, and a pretty famous astronaut, and then chose to make his home here in Colorado. He splits his time between Colorado State University and Ohio State University. He is the Vice President of Energy and Environment at both of those universities, wears two very important hats, and we're just very fortunate to have him as well here in Northern Colorado. Please welcome Dr. Ron Sega.
Thank you very much, and good morning. On behalf of President Tony Frank and the Colorado State University team, we are pleased to join the cities of Fort Collins and Loveland and Robbie Diamond, Electrification Coalition, as a partner in this important endeavor. As Robbie and I discussed some time ago, where is Robbie here? Okay, well, there we go, okay. Northern Colorado community is a great environment for launching a new initiative in energy and transportation. As a previous role in Washington, my focus is on national security and increasingly on energy security. And we certainly saw how initiatives like this one to reduce our dependence on foreign oil support both national imperatives. My current role, as mentioned by Governor Ritter, as Vice President Enterprise Executive for Energy and Environment, is to help the university integrate sustainability, energy, and environment across all aspects of the university, from academics and research to operations and athletics to outreach and engagement across the campus community and the state of Colorado. As a land-grant university founded in 1870, CSU has been at this for a long time. Practical innovation in transportation, energy, efficiency, and being good stewards of the land and our environment is part of the heritage at Colorado State. This tradition is a commitment that we are continuing in sustainability, energy, environment by integrating and organizing our efforts around infrastructural planning, research, education, and outreach. And we take this role seriously. We're part of the STARS program. It's the Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System, kind of a pseudo-standard for higher education. Submitted our results about a year ago of how we're doing. We're number one in the country for about 5 months. Georgia Tech took us. Also a signatory of the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. So with the collaboration here, we can form a larger test bed or model, not only at the campus, community, regional level as we move forward. We're working on the smart grid, capable of incorporating new sources of supply and demand of electrical power, and the efficient employment of electric vehicles fits well into this. We've had partners on projects prior to this. One of those projects is the Renewable Distributed Systems Integration Demonstration Project. Utilities of Fort Collins was part of that, Woodward, New Belgium, Advanced Energy, and others. Our research, some of it's taking place right across the street here in the Engines and Energy Conversion Lab. You see the construction going on. About 60,000 square feet of new capacity is online, where some significant research in plug-in hybrid electric vehicles is going on. It'll also house 3 network-controlled connection points for charging and discharging of EVs and testing vehicle-to-grid technology. We're also participating in EcoCar 2, awarded one of 15 places to compete. It's an international student competition which will occur in 2014. They're modifying a 2013 Malibu to be a hydrogen-powered plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Advanced work in batteries, one example being Pareto battery, will help, I think, move us forward in electric vehicles as well. On the charging station front, we have one at Rockwell Hall. We have another one funded for our new Laurel Village project. And that project is also our first platinum building, the pavilion. Will house around over 600 new students. We have plans for more charging stations as we move forward. We're also pleased to announce that we will be hiring an alternative transportation coordinator in the near future. That responsibility of that individual will be to define, integrate, and implement the university transportation and fleet plans with regional and national partners. So the partners represented today will be critical as we move forward in the area of alternative transportation intersected with energy. So, Drive Electric Northern Colorado is a step forward for our students, faculty, and staff to be part of a vibrant, collaborative community that's engaged in solving and providing energy solutions for the world. Again, thank you for the Electrification Coalition for selecting our community for this bold effort to demonstrate how driving electric can move us forward in the very near term. And from the experience gained, partnerships, and new ideas created, I believe, help pave a way to a brighter future. So we're really proud to be part of it. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the representatives for two of our iconic brewers here in the area. One, New Belgium, represented by Christine Bigert, and Odell's by Carla Bass.
Hi, I'm Christine Biegert, Fleet Manager at New Belgium.
And I'm Carla Bays with Odell Brewing Company.
We started talking and looking into EVs from the fleet side at New Belgium in 2004, started the conversation in 2007, and finally late in November of 2011, we got our first 2 EVs and our first 2 charging stations. So working with the coalition is really, really exciting for us. The Northern Colorado business community continues to be super innovative and really is the forefront of sustainability, and it's really exciting to be part of that. Another thing we would definitely like to announce is on May 19th, we'll be working with Odell's, and we'll have a ride and drive event at both our breweries. So people can come down, drive some EVs, test drive, get in them, and we're really looking forward to that.
And I'm just here to represent the brewery and say how excited we are to have this initiative as a part of our community and be in such great company. So thank you.
I just want to be clear that this is not an endorsement of drinking and electric driving. Total coincidence. Let's go outside. People who can brave the weather. It's beautiful right now. We're just going to break some ground on a fast charger that was donated by Nissan. Thank you very much.
And Nissan is really proud to be a part of Drive Electric Northern Colorado, which will help bring affordable, zero-emission driving to the cities of Loveland and Fort Collins. And since launching the Leaf more than 2 years ago, Nissan has sold over 50,000 Nissan Leafs worldwide, making it the best-selling electric vehicle in the world. And behind me here is a DC fast charger that is able to charge a Nissan Leaf from 0 to 80% state of charge in less than 30 minutes. So DC fast charging really provides drivers with convenience of rapid refueling to complement public, workplace, and residential charging. So Nissan is also working very closely with its dealerships, Tynan's Nissan, Ehrlich Nissan, and others. And you should really look forward to visiting a Nissan dealership in the coming weeks as we roll out the Model Year 13 to dealerships. And Ehrlich Nissan has graciously donated a Nissan Leaf to Drive Electric Northern Colorado. So please do test drive one today. And Nissan looks forward to working with Drive Electric Northern Colorado stakeholders to make zero-emission driving for Northern Colorado. Thank you.
Proud to have our shovels and hats here delivered by an electric vehicle provided by FedEx. So if you haven't had a chance, FedEx has a couple of these in town that are now delivering your packages electrically. Thank you.
Yeah, just a good dirt road if you want. There you go.
And then you can go shovel snow.
And the shovels.